Hi guys, I'm Glenise Hughes, radio show host and this TV show host for Living in the Magic of Possibilities. I am so excited to be here. So this week's radio show, 3 tips to choosing wealth. Yeah, I have had a lot of feedback from that show where there's a lot of people that it really created a lot of resistance in their world and a lot of, really wanting to punch me. And I'm totally cool with that. I know, and also, of course, when they're sending in their messages to me, they're also letting me know that they know that it's not about me. And really, really being willing to not give up and not quit and not stop whatever it is that's driving us nuts, to really be willing to look at that. So really kudos to each one of you who were willing to do that. So today's show is about how to receive even more. And I have to tell you, I've got a program going right now, or just at this point, when I'm recording this, we're just getting into the start date of April 1st, and I have really invited myself to receive more than I never imagined possible and it's called 21 Days to Choosing Wealth. And I really had no clue how many people would be interested in it. I don't really look at numbers anymore, sometimes from a playfulness sense or from a place of creating more sense, and a challenge to myself maybe. But otherwise it doesn't really matter. If I really feel drawn to create something, I create it. At this point, we're at about 600 people that have joined from at least 30 countries. Actually, it's over 30 countries at this point around the world. And honestly, you guys, you probably assume that I just sit back and receive that la-di-da-di-da. I'd love to tell you I do, but oh my gosh, it's just been so magnificent and really invited me into a space of receiving that is beyond what I've never imagined possible. And I mean, I've had that number, probably even up to 1,000 people on free calls and free Google Hangouts and stuff like that. And there's a different element for me with this whole process, that they're actually paying me to be a part of it, which is really interesting for me to look at, and crazy, and a whole bunch of other, look, I've got a rainbow. Sorry, it's there. Anyway, stay on track, Glennies. So it's really been an interesting experience for me to be willing to receive it. And one of the things that I do with that is to drop the barriers. So when I see another PayPal order come in or another credit card order come in, is just drop the barriers. And it's in my head. I don't usually say it out loud. Sometimes I will if I'm by myself, but just barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, in all levels, layers, lifetimes, universes, barriers down. And sometimes I just literally push them down so that I can receive even more. And sometimes we're better at receiving judgment and harshness and unkindness than we are kindness and gratitude and adoration and money. So it's kind of looking at all of that for myself all the time, and I've asked my body to let me know when I'm not receiving. So when I'm going into kind of pushback or kind of making it less than what it is, so that I can be aware in that moment, and then in that moment I can drop the barriers. And then I will often ask too, I wonder what it would be like to receive even more. So this morning on Facebook, as I was posting about it, so in the Awesomepreneur group, which I'll put a link below if you guys aren't part of that group, it's a free Facebook group that I run. It's so much fun, and we have a theme every weekday. So today is Monday, and it was Magic Day, and so I was posting in there about how grateful I am for having as many people choose the 21 Days program. And my target has been, ever since the numbers started going and going and going, my target has been at least 1,000 people. So as I'm typing this all up on the Facebook post this morning, I thought, wow, I wonder what it would be like to put that out there, like to actually say that in this post. Well, whoo, the energy that came up for me around that, like that's wrong and I shouldn't ask for so much, and you know, how many people in the group that are going to read it would be grateful to have 10 people in their program, let alone at that time it was about 500 or just over 500. So for me to ask for 1,000, like who the fuck do I think I am, right? And so it's barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, because the other thing I'm aware of is if I'm willing to ask, I'm at least opening the door to receiving. It doesn't mean I'm willing to receive it. So lots of times we've kind of bought the lie that asking equals receiving. It doesn't. Asking opens the door to receiving. So one of the other things that I did as I was kind of playing with the energy of this growing and was like, oh my gosh, this is beyond what I've never imagined possible. It's like, what is it going to take to create over 1,000 people in this program? And I had I had more awarenesses, but two things popped in, and one was to get it translated into German, and one was to get it translated into French. So that became then doing on my part in terms of, okay, who to ask, who to play with, who might be able to refer me, those sorts of things. So, you know, when we talk about asking equals receiving, it doesn't mean just by me asking for more than 1,000 people that it showed up, or that it's even going to show up. Part of that too, part of kind of in a sense is the doing, is that for me, the willingness to receive that. And so the willingness to drop those barriers continuously. You know, every time an order comes in, be really excited. And not to make it about the number either. So if we didn't get any more registrations and it was at whatever 600 or whatever, cool, how does it get any better than that? It's not wrong to not reach your target, and that's why we call them targets in Access, is because it's like, you know, shooting an arrow, and sometimes you go way past it and sometimes you're totally off, but it always creates more awareness. And so it's just that willingness to play with it from the playfulness, not having a point of view, not having a point of view that I failed or that I should judge myself if I don't create my target or out-create my target. It's just the playfulness of it. The biggest part for me throughout, you know, these last few days with this is just dropping my barriers. And so I wonder where in your life you could drop barriers to receive even more. And it could be receiving people's judgment. It could be that, and I know it's not fun, and I wonder if we allowed it to be fun, if we allowed it to be playful, if we didn't take it personally. You know, I am very aware of, well, yeah, actually I am very aware of how much judgment is being projected at me. This program, other things I'm choosing, the way that I'm willing to be in the world. Yes, some of you guys love me and adore me for it, and I'll be honest, some people don't. And my job is to be okay with that. For me, not my job for them, but my job for me is to be okay with that, and to know that people's judgment has nothing to do with me. If they're judging me, it has nothing to do with me. It just means I'm probably poking them in the eye with inviting them into a possibility that they don't want to be invited into. And it's the same as if I'm judging somebody. It means nothing about that person. They're probably inviting me into a possibility that I don't want to be invited into. So really to be aware of that with receiving, because that's usually the kind of the two things. One is the barriers, and two is the unwillingness to receive judgment. What if you just knew what judgment was, which was nothing about you, unless of course you're the one doing the judging. And even that, I would do, who does this belong to? Because it's probably not yours. You're just aware of the judgment in the world. So that's a whole other radio show or a whole other TV show. And I actually think I did a show about it not that long ago called Who Does This Belong To? So check the archives for that. Okay, I, try to keep these videos short, but man, I talk a lot. Who would have thought? All right, so everything I talked about, you can find links below, including the 21 days to choosing wealth. You can join us at any time. April 1st is kind of when it's starting, but if you're watching this after April 1st, it's an EBL sequence. So once you join, even if it's like April 21st or June, whatever, or whenever, once you purchase it, then the first day will come and then it'll go for the next 21 days. So you're not out of the loop if it's after April 1st. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking to you soon.